Ice cream and cookies.
Oh,
You can't go wrong there. And so they've gotten
that's
into
true.
the one thing that I just whacked my mic. That was probably good, right? Hey there, and welcome to Career Goals, a show to help you find a greater balance between your work and your family. I'm your host, Tim Chesney, and I'm here with my co-host, Pastor Mark Brewer.
Yes, I'm here again.
Yes, he's
Back
back.
by popular demand. I don't know how big the demand is, but
It is.
yeah, I'm back.
It's huge. It's a huge demand. So we're talking about some fun stuff today because, man, we got some family business stuff that we got to get into,
Yeah.
right? Which
Yeah, I love
is
this.
never full of complications at all and always goes smoothly, I'm sure.
Really?
Right?
I
Have you
haven't
experienced this?
I haven't totally experienced that
Not at all?
in my life. No, the whole family business dynamic I think is really really tricky in a lot of ways. But I appreciate owners of businesses, especially that are working with their family, and how gutsy and how risky that is. And yet, man, there's a lot of good things that come out of that. So,
Yeah, definitely is. So what experiences have you had, positive and negative? We want to hear about both.
Well, I think it's all positive because if you have a growth mindset, then it's always about growing and becoming better. So even though some of the experiences might be negative,
That was the safest answer I've ever heard.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I've
like
always worked. Well, since I was 21, I've always worked in business with family. So not only in vocational church ministry where I was
Yeah.
working with my brother-in-law
Yeah.
and some other family members over the years. People will say, "Well, man, that's great. You got job security." I'm going, "You have no idea what it's like." Because every decision that Scott and I make not only has ramifications for the local church ministry, but also our friendship. And we've been friends for 30 years, but also the fact that we're married to sisters. And this side of the family spends a lot of time together.
Yeah.
And so every decision has exponentially a broader range of things that it could be influencing or bumping into or impact that it could be making. And then Melanie and I have had a couple of businesses over the years that we've worked together in, and it was tricky. And she was in working in church work with me really probably the first 15 years of our marriage.
Wow.
And that was tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she could just basically tell me no. Even if I was the boss and like she was on the team or a role, we had to carefully navigate what I would actually ask her to do, especially if I was asking her to do it in front of a group of people. Because I didn't do very good with no, I don't feel like doing that type of stuff, or that's dumb. I'm not doing that. Nobody else would ever do that to me, but she would do that every once in a while.
Yeah.
And so we had to start kind of having some talks about how do we create some boundaries here, because I don't want to blow you up. She doesn't like getting blown up, and I don't like getting blown up. So we got better at it over the years.
I bet those are fun conversations, right?
They were. It'd be better to have them now,
Yeah.
because we're a lot smarter now than we were back then. But you know what? We made it through. We're almost 27 years into this beautiful marriage, and so we made it. So whatever.
Wait, what were the businesses that you guys had?
Well, we were doing some real estate investment things. We both,
Okay.
and when she first started doing real estate, and then I had a couple of fitness businesses, and so we were working those out of the kind of umbrella of things, and cross-pollinating money and finances and goals and things. So
yeah.
yeah.
Do you feel like you guys established roles pretty quickly? Like, hey, I'm more of the visionary and she deals with more of the nitty gritty businessy type stuff?
Operationally, it usually works like this even in our marriage. She is really, really powerful at the 0 to 1 getting things started.
Yeah.
And she actually doesn't need to know very much to
That's
go
awesome.
for it. I'm way better at okay, if you'll get that started, I can help build a system where that thing has a shot at living for a long time.
Yeah.
And so I'm much more of a systems guy. When the idea comes, I'm thinking, okay, what are the resources? How long do we want this to go? Who needs to be involved? How can we create a routine that can be duplicated over and over? She's okay in just jumping and going, and then we'll backfill the other stuff.
Yeah.
And so in our early days, that could be kind of a rant where we would bump into each other in that space. And then we got better with a great counselor and encourager to say, hey, you both have superpowers. You just need to know when to turn yours on and when to turn yours off.
Yeah.
And once we started learning that, those conversations became much easier.
Dude, I feel like we had an issue with just understanding roles. I think a little bit. I mean, my wife, Becky, is definitely the visionary. And I am like, wish I was a visionary. And I'm not.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to figure out, I'm like, okay, I would love to do this. And this is a cool business idea. But she's kind of, I think, more like Melanie, where she's like, hey, we can get this going. I know we can get this going. And then I guess I'm a little bit more the cheerleader / nitty gritty person behind. But it took me a little bit to realize that. And I think that helped us out a lot, just to be like,
right,
look, you got the vision. Let me help you let me help us get there. And I'll figure out all the financial or whatever aspects of it. But today we get to talk about people who are actually having success with their own business.
Yeah.
And they can walk us through some of the steps and maybe some of the pitfalls. So for those of people who are thinking, you know what, I want to take this step. Here are some things you need to think about ahead of time and how to kind of start that process. And they'll be up with us next.
I'm excited.
We'll be right back with the interview portion of today's episode. In the meantime, we want to continue to give you the opportunity to let your voice be heard. If you have a topic idea or question you would like to have discussed on the show, we would love to hear from you. All you have to do is follow the link in the description and submit your idea. And don't forget, every submission is an entry into our weekly giveaway. So click that link and tell us what you think. Hey guys, we are back with Scott and Ashley Cieri of Pokeos, which I'm really excited about because it's ice cream.
You like ice cream.
I like ice cream.
Who are you?
They have gotten into the one industry that I think, for one, is always needed, because who doesn't like ice cream and cookies?
That's a good one.
But they've figured out how to make this work as a family business. But before we get into the family business side, I wanted to ask you guys, tell me a little bit about the background. What were you guys doing before you started the Pokeo stuff?
All right, well, we were both in the district of our Waxahachie ISD. I was teaching, she was teaching. She moved up, I was still teaching. Anyway, the whole time I was teaching, I was growing.
Wait, what did she move up to?
Yeah, she moved up.
Okay, well, I serve as the digital learning coordinator in Waxahachie ISD. That's a curriculum position. So I work with technology K through 12. I help teachers integrate technology in the classroom. That's my full-time job.
Okay.
So we'll talk a little bit how I fit Pokeos in with that.
Yes.
But,
okay, so she moved up some rung somewhere on some ladder.
Yep.
You're still teaching.
Still teaching.
Okay.
And I think my second year teaching, I started a Christmas light business, which I learned how to do all that stuff from my man Chris Shepard, if he happens to be listening.
Okay.
And anyway, it grew and grew and grew. And the last 2 years, I was teaching and doing lights. I couldn't add any more customers because I just didn't have enough time.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, man, I just got to find something that fits with Christmas lights, so something that I can do the rest of the year. And so then Ashley happened to hear that the Pokeos people were trying to sell the truck. And so when she told me that, I was like, well, that's perfect, because that's going to be slow during cold time. So just had to make that leap and just went for it.
Wow. Okay, so the jump into, hey, we have an employee mindset, but we think we may also have a business mindset, because a lot of people think they want to be in business until they actually start doing it, and it's a whole different mindset. Had that already been cycling in you guys for a lot of years, and you were just looking for the opportunity? How did it transpire?
I think the Christmas light business definitely helped with that, because Scott did love teaching, but he really liked being his own boss and being able to set his own hours, and he really found fulfillment in growing a business.
Yeah.
So finding that as your own boss is really a great feeling. And so when that was at the peak of its growth and he couldn't grow it anymore, that's when he thought, okay, what could we do that would enable me to do this year round on my own, and even bring maybe former students on. Like we haven't even touched on that, but some of his former students are employees of both Pokeos and his Christmas light business.
Awesome.
So we've been able to work with them as well. But just looking and finding something that would complement that ice cream truck business, like you said, during that peak season, be not busy, but the other season be complementary.
Yeah.
So what hesitations did you guys have about leaving stability of the education world and start? I know you're still doing it, Ashley, but like Scott, you're like, I'm done. I'm doing full-time business.
Yeah.
Did you guys talk about that beforehand?
For sure, yeah. We spent some time with the old Pokio's owners, and they let us go on runs with them just to see how it was and look at numbers. Pretty much our kind of backup plan was, we said, if this doesn't work, we have enough put back from previous years of Christmas lights to where if we go a year and it's just not happening, we can just sell it and I'll just go back into teaching. Like that, we had enough of a cushion there to go for it without like for real totally going for it.
So for people that are jumping in at this point, would you say that ought to be part of their, if they were going to make a list of things that they need prior, would it be some running cash?
I think so,
for a
for sure.
significant amount of time?
Yeah, for sure. I
We had a
think that
safety
was,
net.
yes, I think that was a big part of it, knowing that we had that savings as a backup if it didn't take off right away, which luckily it did.
Yeah, it was
luckily
great.
we hit the ground running, which was great. The previous
Nice.
owners had made a really good reputation for Poco's, Ellis County, in our area already. So, so that was nice. But also we talked budget, our monthly budget. We talked about what he had been bringing in as a teacher on top of Christmas lights and what we would need to make monthly to meet that same budget for us.
Yeah.
I made some spreadsheets.
Yes, we
good.
definitely
Are
had
you
some
the
plans.
spreadsheet
That's
guy of
awesome.
the
Oh, yeah.
business?
Yes,
Okay, all
he's
right.
definitely in the spreadsheet.
So you
guy.
actually had to think about finances ahead of jumping into a full-time business thing? That is
Yeah.
Imagine that.
I'd see like
revolutionary, right?
how many sandwiches I should sell each month to be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh, counting the cost.
And we had to even think about insurance. Like if I would carry the insurance, what it would look like for me carrying the family insurance now,
Yeah.
or are other options for that.
Sure.
So, things like
And
that.
we were off. I mean, everything was more expensive, and I was even trying to go more expensive, but there's still more costs that I didn't cover. But
Yeah.
So you built in wiggle room, and then you were still surprised about things that you just didn't know would be coming or expenses.
and
that
not
were
too
coming.
much, but still
Yeah.
on that end of it.
Did you have a percentage that you built in?
I was thinking 20 in my head,
Really?
just to
Okay.
play it on the safe side because I
Yeah.
like to be safe with it.
He's
Yeah.
very safe.
Yeah.
Hey,
But you guys working together, so I'm getting a little more risk tolerance over on this side and a little less risk tolerance.
I would
But is
say,
it categorically, like are there different categories where each of you kind of trade off where
Yeah,
you're
when
willing
it-
to risk?
when it comes
Yes.
into the businesses part of it that I wanted to do it, I was more like, let's go for it.
And I
Okay.
was like,
But when it, but when it
Sure.
comes into like, hey, what can we do with our money? Well, she likes to spend it. So, you know,
Okay, all right,
Maybe.
well, good. I like that.
that's really cool. So is owning an ice cream truck as magical as it sounds?
yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Because it sounds magical.
Yeah,
It does.
It's only smiles. I mean, it's awesome. That's what I tell people. Like with teaching, you get smiles, but you also get some non-smiles for sure.
Yeah.
But now it's like year-round Christmas lights or Pokios. All I get is smiles. It just makes me a happier person.
Dude, what
altogether.
are we
Literally,
doing?
I
What are
don't-
we doing?
I don't
Because
know.
I've been
We're-
getting, I got some frowns today on a couple things. Yeah, I had a
Oh,
couple
man.
meetings where people like
Or they give you
like
the
furrowed
evil
browed
eye
me or
and stuff?
something, Yeah, I didn't realize.
we'll just stick some Pokios in the back for you to just pull out.
I
when
guess.
That happens, the
Well, I got to have
handout.
Pokios in my pocket all the time.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
sounds like is the issue. Either that or a strand of lights.
Yeah.
That's right. One or the other.
Christmas and food.
You could just like drape the strand of
What?
lights over your neck, like just
Okay.
improve
You
the
do
mood.
that,
I'm
nobody's
ready.
gonna frown.
I'm ready.
Just keep going with that.
I know how difficult it's been, also how joyous it's been, but how difficult it's been to work in vocational ministry with family and some of the businesses that Melanie and I've done. So I'm always interested in hearing what that was like
Yeah.
for you guys and what is it still like. So maybe what were a couple of things that were kind of revelations of, wow, we didn't know this is the way this is going to play out, but also how's that working for you now? Because you're with each other a significant amount of time in this business.
All right. Well, at first it was just communication, not really between us too much, but with other people and also with us, I guess. But we'd both kind of reply to people, or we both wouldn't, thinking the other one did. So we just kind of had to figure out who was going to talk to who when.
So y'all were
Got it.
bumping into responding. You
Right.
both wanted to respond, but both of you were bumping into who's responding when and
Right.
Yeah.
Or somebody would contact me because I was a friend, and I would respond, and then he didn't realize I'd respond and tell him a price, and that, oh, are you sure that's the right price? Just things like price and details.
Okay,
and
where's the place with
working
the
out
irritation would happen?
The place where the irritation would happen.
Yeah, let's just get like where's it?
He wants to
where,
get real
I like
really
getting
fast.
into the.
Yeah.
Okay, where did it really go awry for you guys as you guys were?
I think pretty
doing
much
this
whenever
business?
you have hooked up events and things that don't go, like we kind of set some guidelines eventually. At the very beginning, we didn't know what we were doing. So we just kind of went with whatever. But now we kind of figured out, like, if we're going to be at a place for this amount of time, we need to make this amount of money. And sometimes she breaks those rules without confirming with me first because it's a friend and
Are
I
you
get it.
giggling because it's
It's a-
true that you were a rule breaker?
I didn't see like her shaking
Like
her
I didn't
no.
see you
It
fight
was like,
that
yeah.
for a second at all.
You as a friend, you like to give friends favors and you
Okay.
want to help them out and
I just don't
he
have many
does.
friends, so and she has a
That
lot,
is
so,
true.
so it
That
happens
is
a lot.
true.
you
That
know?
is true. But you want to be, beneficial to your friends, but I do have a lot of friends, and
Yeah,
a
she
lot
does.
of them support our business
Yeah.
frequently, which is awesome. And he has made me realize that it's still a business, and we do have to still make money to support our family. So I might not be able to go as far as like just giving away Pokeos whenever I feel like it,
Yeah.
but still blessing people for sure. We definitely still are able to, show love to our community for sure by doing fundraisers and helping people out in our
But you
community.
can't help people out if you don't have a business.
True.
you gotta make
so
money.
we had to learn that fine line
Okay.
for sure.
We hope you're enjoying today's episode of Career Goals. If you would like more information about Scott and Ashley Cieri and their business, Pokeos Ellis County, you can find all the links in the show description. Oh, and while you're there, because of course you want to be notified of new episodes, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button on our podcast or YouTube page.
Tell me about taking the hat on and off. Hey, baby, I'd like to have a conversation about the business. And then, hey, I'd like to have a conversation about you and I. And then, hey, were y'all good at taking the hat on and off, or did it get really muddled in the beginning, or is it still muddled? Like, what does that look like for you guys?
I don't think there's ever been a hat. I've never thought of it that way. I think I would say it's muddled, I guess.
Yeah, it's just constantly ongoing. And with 3 young kids at home, when we are home, like we don't actually get to have legit conversations full out. I don't feel like till about 8 o'clock at night when they're
Yeah.
all in bed
Yeah.
for the 2 to 3 hour time span before we fall asleep on the couch and then crawl to bed a little bit later. But we really just don't get to have those, I guess, really deep business conversations. We do it in passing or through text if I'm at work and he's at home, Yeah, it's definitely muddled a lot
Okay.
still. But
Do y'all have
we
any
try to-
hard and fast rules around the relationship and the business and making sure that you guys are safe in both places? Because we're not just a business partnership here, we're a family partnership. And what are you guys doing to navigate through that space?
I think we've definitely, when there's messages that come in of people I know or that I've started a communication with, we set a clear line on who is going to finish that communication.
That's true.
Even to the point of sometimes when I'm doing communicating, I'll work the truck. Like he works the truck a whole lot more than I do since I work full time. But if it's an event that I've been communicating with and I am able to work it to help him out because I've been the one communicating, I'll go work the event. So, and when we can work the truck together, we love it. Like
Yeah.
it's
Oh, that's my
fun to
favorite.
be in the truck together. It's hard to do that with our small kids at home together a lot of the time, but we do enjoy it for sure when we're on the truck together. That's pretty fun.
And I'd say one of the things we've just recently realized would always be her job is I'm very straightforward. So when somebody asks me a question, I give them the answer, and you're just supposed to read it straight.
Now, what's
because-
funny is even as you're answering that, she's over there giving it this
She
and
knows.
smiling real big, and her eyes are kind of gleaming.
Yeah, Ashley's like,
What does that mean?
Well, the way I don't know who used the words this way. Pretty much, she adds the fluff.
Okay.
So like when I would just give them the information, and apparently I wasn't nice enough. I mean, I wasn't rude, but I just straight up, here's the information, give it back to me. Let's see if we can get it hooked up.
Okay, so you're providing data.
Yeah,
and
pretty
you're
much.
providing commentary around the data.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
say that. Just when people message, you want to be, it's not that he's not polite. He just gives the facts and that's it. So,
Yeah.
and same kind of thing on social media. Like I've taken over our social media. I do the marketing and kind of PR for the business. That's more of my side than even working the truck. And I think I've done that just because like one time he put a Facebook post on and it was like, come see us, 5 p.m. And I was like,
next
"Who
question.
Because
does
those are the
that?"
facts, dude.
That's right.
Yeah, he's like, come see us. But I was wondering,
Starts
how
at
did you guys
5.
figure out who's going to do what role? Because you're obviously doing marketing, and I can see that because you got that personality to like reach out.
Yeah.
Scott, you've got it costs this much.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Come at 5, pay this, and you get ice cream.
Right.
Type thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've lost any deals because of that or anything. but she just, she makes it sound nicer for sure.
Yeah.
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 And he knows that. Like the one time he did do that, he goes, "Hey, can you get on there and fix that post? Because I just had to post something, but I need you to get on there and
Yeah.
add the fluff, So
Yeah. So you guys have had to figure it out. There's been things to work through, right?
Yeah, for
Yes.
sure.
So you've had the hard things and times to work through. What have you most enjoyed about doing the family business together?
I'm not even just us two, but my oldest son, he's 7, and occasionally, not as much anymore. I'm not real sure if he just got tired of it, but at least in the beginning, he loved coming with me,
Oh, that's awesome.
and he would just kind of work the window, and he's good enough in math to where he could actually work the thing and give back change, usually correctly. And
Nice.
Anyway, he loved it because he would just earn the tips, and he was thinking he was banking, and so it was. I don't know, I really enjoyed that part. He kind of learned business and math and just people skills all at the same time. I liked it.
Scott, do you have to count the till afterwards and be like, "Oh, dude, you're
No,
75
I just
cents
kind
short."
of corner of my eye while I'm scooping, just kind of walking.
Watching. And I guess my favorite part is just the relationships that we've been able to build with people, the people that have working on the truck with us. Like I said, our former students, or kids we either had in class or have worked with their parents in the school district that we know, and they've been great, high quality kids that we've loved being able to employ and pour into them spiritually, while we do this business together. So that, and then just reaching our community, being able to give back to our community when we do fundraisers or events for nonprofits, especially in churches. We love doing those. So that's been my favorite part for sure.
So if you have to give one piece of advice to someone who's like, you know what, I'd like to do this, and I'm thinking, or maybe myself and my wife are trying to start a business, what would you give them to start thinking, okay, we're going to step forward, but this is one thing you'd really need to think about and talk through before you make that step?
Gotcha. Well, I know a few things. The whole having a safety net part we already talked about,
Yeah.
and having a plan, obviously.
Yep.
But one thing for both of my businesses, at least, is both of them are really simple. Like my Christmas lights, I only do the stuff on the house. I was doing some yard stuff for the first couple of years, but I realized it took me forever and I wasn't that good at it. So we just knocked that out. So we only do house stuff. So we're in and out of places really quick. My guys, I just train them on one simple task. So anyway, real simple. And then with the Pokeos, still it's just simple. There's only cookies, there's only ice cream. That's it. So, the old saying, which I think I heard in school actually the first time, was keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
And I think that's what both my businesses, I just think that's huge because you can just do so much more with a little bit.
Love it.
Nice.
And I guess mine would be, before jumping in, obviously, other than the safety net, just pray about it. I know that's the thing everybody says, but seek God if that's the direction that He wants you to go. And then also ask friends, ask people that have been in that situation advice, and see if that's something that they feel that would fit your personality well, that would fit your family dynamic well, and then go from there.
What was first thought? So from inception, dude, what if, or maybe, or could we, from that point to start and go live? What was the timeline on both of those?
Well,
Like a month, wasn't it?
yeah, we had talked about finding something that
Well,
would
that was a
complement
few
Christmas
years,
lights.
yeah.
That's been coming for a few years, and we were just pretty much like, God, if you want this to happen, send something our way that He wouldn't have to learn a new trade, like
Well,
something.
even if I
that
did,
would
I was
be-
fine with it. But
Yeah.
And I'm not. This might sound wrong, but I just don't normally speak about spiritual things because it feels awkward to me. I was raised Christian, but not in church. If that makes sense. And so when people would say, it was a God thing, I just wouldn't say things like that. But with this, I have no other explanation for it because of how perfectly it fit. And she just happened to hear, around. We didn't know this lady, personally. She just worked in the district. That's the only explanation I have for it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
It was a mutual friend that had said, hey, they're trying to sell the business. I said, when are their peak times? She said, well, it's March to October, November. And I was like, is she serious about it? So I contacted her. That was May, and we had the business by beginning of July.
All right, fast movers.
Wow, that was
Yeah.
a quick turnaround.
as her dad said, we live at breakneck speed.
Yeah.
That's what
Love it.
So,
That is really
Yeah.
good.
Well, thank you guys for being here today.
Yeah.
thanks for having us.
Appreciate y'all. Appreciate your business. Appreciate what God's doing in you and through you, and the example you're setting for people who have a hope and a desire to be business owners and make an impact. And you're sharing a lot of the impact. It's not just the money. That's nice, and the control's nice, but the influence that you have on other people and the continued influence you're having on people that you care about is making a real difference.
Awesome.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks for having us.